First, I'd like to thank our crowd. Here we are on a Wednesday night in February, and things have never been easy for our team this year. And I thought our student section and just how it felt out there was a really big advantage for us. I mean, it's not easy to come into the Cintas Center and deal with our crowd, and you inspire our team. And obviously pointing towards this weekend against Creighton, looking forward to having the most energy we can have in the building, because it's such a competitive advantage that you can take it for granted sometimes.
Coach, take us inside the huddle in the final 18 seconds, just what you told the guys, and how happy are you with the game plan, not allowing them to get a shot off, and just overall, how happy are you with the defensive effort holding them to 53 points?
Yeah, I would go two parts. We had the ball up 1 point, and that was a critical possession for us out of a timeout. And we wanted to put the ball in Quincy's hands. I think what we really tried to encourage Quincy on that last possession is don't settle for a jump shot. You could at times make the game-winning three-point shot or field goal, but that's the more difficult choice. The better choice a lot of times, because they're so worried about you shooting it, is to drive. And then a lot of times if you drive, you have the opportunity to draw a foul, or a lot of times your missed shot leads to an offensive rebound. The other part with Quincy is such a great free throw shooter that having the ball in his hands when he gets fouled makes sense. So we executed. I thought Abu set a great screen that gave him an advantage. And then, as oftentimes is the case, you take for granted that he made both free throws to put us up 3. I had one timeout left. We had one timeout, and at that juncture, sometimes it's tough to use it. But I think what we wanted to make sure is that our team understood we were up 3 points, and that we don't want them to shoot the 3, and that we want them to drive it. And if they drive it, we still win. So it ended up working out for us. I thought the 5 players that were out there really just tried to smother the 3-point line. And, the fact they didn't get a shot up, maybe that had something to do with Villanova. But, for us, even if they would have shot it, it would have been a very difficult shot. So very pleased how we finished the game. And right now, with the way this league is, these close games, it oftentimes comes down to that last play. Keep in mind, when we played Villanova the first time, we really had, in my mind, 3 shots for us to take the lead in the last 24 seconds. We went 0 for 3 on those shots. So it was great for us to be able to win a close game against them here.
You've talked about needing production from the bench. Can you just explain the role that Sasha had tonight with 5 points in the first half, Dalen with a dunk and big rebounds down the stretch, and even Trey hitting a 3 in the second half?
Yeah, Sasha was really solid, and then I thought Abu settled down a little bit more in the second half. His 5 shot blocks and his defense on Dixon and his perimeter defense, and just the fact that Abu was able to play 31 minutes was a really big deal. He didn't get in foul trouble tonight. But Sasha in the first half subbed in and did a good job. Dalen Swain was really good. He had 4 offensive rebounds, and I thought he almost had an and one on the one finish, but he dunked the ball. Like, he went stronger, and those are the things that we're trying to get Dalen to do. We needed Dalen too, because Gitas, he was terrible. I mean, he really was. About as bad as you can play as a starter. We need him to play better, both on offense and on defense. And if Dalen didn't enter the game and play the role that he had tonight, we would have been in big trouble, because like we've done throughout the year, you look at that position right there, there are times when we've played a 40-minute game and we've almost gotten nothing from it. So when Dalen subbed in, he not only did a great job, but he was subbing in for somebody who just didn't have it tonight. And hopefully Gitas can be better.
You mentioned Dalen's rebounding. Has his toughness on the glass enabled you to play him at the 4 and go small a little bit more?
No question. When you sub in and you're more athletic and skilled, sometimes you give up size. And there are times when we've done that early this season and throughout the year where that hasn't worked well. Dalen's more physical now. I think he's learned. And again, 4 offensive rebounds. I think he had 5 for the game. That's big, especially when you consider the minutes that he played.
Was there any consideration in fouling in that final possession?
Always a consideration. 18 seconds for us is too much. You can extend the game, and it feels good maybe on that first foul. But now you have to play it out. You have to inbound the ball. You have to call a timeout. Now we don't have timeout. You have to make more free throws, and you can overthink it and put yourself in a worse position. So at 18 seconds, we're not going to. If it's gets a little bit into maybe our hot zone there, we will.
Sean, what impressed you the most about your defense? They shot 19 for 56. You guys didn't have a great night shooting, but you held them to 19 for 56.
We did a great job. Tonight we won because of our defense. When you look at the fact that we shot 34% from the field, we were 6 for 27 from the three-point line. The one thing we did a great job of is we did not turn it over. When you have single-digit turnovers, that's great. And we did a really good job offensive rebounding. I don't know what the percentage is, but those 12-second shots and 8 turnovers gave us a chance. But I just thought across the board, Abu was 1 for 7, but I thought he really played. He had 5 blocks. So 5 blocks and 9 rebounds, playing 31 minutes against Dixon. When you play against Dixon, you have to both guard him on the perimeter and the post. And sometimes big guys can do one, but they can't do both. And I thought Abu was really good tonight, being able to do both on a night where, he didn't make a couple shots that maybe normally he can.
Sean, this was just the 3rd time since realignment that Xavier's beaten Villanova here at home, and you think back to the game in Philadelphia this year, or the 1-point loss last year. There've been a lot of close ones. Just as a coach, as a coaching staff, how good does it feel to be on the other side of this one?
It feels good. Last year, 10 years ago, obviously we can all go back in time, and Villanova's program speaks for itself. And what Jay Wright did there is legendary. It is. Everybody, especially in the Big East, I think should, and I think they do give him the utmost respect. Obviously, when you look at those players, there's several of them that have been in the Final Four already. They have great experience, and I know this is a big month, like it is for us, for their team too. So I look at more that it was a pivotal game in our conference for both teams, and it was great that we were able to win. We respect them a great deal.
Sean, Des said on that final defensive play that you guys decided to switch everything, and that's not something that you ordinarily do. How do you arrive at that conclusion in that moment, such a pivotal point in the game, to say, we're going to do this thing that we don't normally do? What's that process like?
Well, it is something that in that situation we do, but you're right, that's not really our base defense, but special situations, being able to switch, and that's why we elected to call a timeout. Now, not everybody agrees with that, because let's say they scored and now we have to inbound the ball, or we have a tie game, we're out of timeouts. But sometimes just to be able to take time and really be organized can give you at least peace of mind that we switched, everybody knew it. And sometimes it's to remind your team that if they drive the ball and dunk it, they lose. You're so wired to take that away. They needed a 3-point shot to tie the game. So that's really what we talked about, and our guys did a good job executing.
Last question.
Congrats on the victory, Coach. When Cintas is loud and erupting like it is tonight, and you have guys from Europe that aren't necessarily English first language speakers, do you have any communication barriers on the court where you have to adapt to maybe even using their native language, things like that?
I can't use their native language. I don't have that skill. But no, I think the other part for those guys, you have to realize in their case, playing in Serbia, I think, you heard, Nikola Jokic talk about it. He was asked one time, why do you play in front of the crowd? He said, I played in Serbia. Have you ever been there? Don't underestimate the types of crowds that they've all been in front of in Lithuania and Serbia, throughout their Europe. But those guys are continuing to do a better job of communicating, and we're, I think, continuing to do a better job communicating with them. We really need Gitas to be better. He's had some great moments this year, and he always plays with a lot of energy. Tonight he didn't have it, and we're going to really need him on Saturday to play better.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Sean.